Hi, I'm Gene Marrano. Our guests on the interview today are both very much in the creative business. One owns a small advertising and public relations firm based in Roanoke. The other oversees a concert venue that is all about creativity and nurturing an interest in music among students. Our guests are Cyrus Pace, Executive Director at Jefferson Center, and Thomas Becker, President of TBA, the Becker Agency. An educator, performer, and administrator, Cyrus Pace has a wide variety of experiences in the music world. He's performed with notable musicians like Lonnie Smith, self-produced 3 CDs, and as coordinator of fine arts for Roanoke City Public Schools, he facilitated a VH1 Save the Music grant for 18 elementary schools, securing $200,000 worth of instruments for school children. Pace has taught at Virginia Tech and Roanoke College, started a private music academy, and even worked for noted financier Michael Dell's hedge fund company at one point. Pace received a bachelor's degree in sociology from Roanoke College and a master's in jazz performance from Manhattan School of Music. He is also a certified music teacher in the state of Virginia. Now as executive director of Jefferson Center in downtown Roanoke, he wears several hats, overseeing the programming for Shaftman Performance Hall, leasing office suites in the building, promoting short-term space rentals, and educational outreach via the Music Lab. Cyrus Pace has also taken on an ambitious campaign to raise funds for the nonprofit center. Cyrus Pace, welcome to the interview.
Thank you very much.
What attracted you to the Jefferson Center position? I think you've been there since last October. You had been a coordinator of fine arts for Roanoke City Schools.
Right.
What was it, Cyrus, that said this was the career change you wanted to make?
I guess like any career change I've made, I've thought about whether or not the impact that I'm having in this community would be either increase or decrease by making this move, and ultimately I decided that I thought it would increase, that I think that I would be able to do many of the things that I was already doing for Roanoke City Schools and for the children of Roanoke and Southwest Virginia and for the community, and still continue to do those things at Jefferson Center in a leadership role that felt more comfortable to me. I mean, it was time for a change. I love what I did with the Roanoke City Schools. I was surrounded by some of the smartest and most dedicated people I've ever been around in my life. But it was just time for a change, time to do something else.
Mm-hmm. You know, for those who haven't been to a concert at Jefferson Center or even ventured into the hallways there to see the artwork, tell them what they're missing.
Sure. Shaftman Performance Hall is a rare bird. It's 950 seats, and the fact that the community here and audiences get to come see Emmylou Harris or Wynton Marsalis or whoever is coming as part of our series, Esperanza Spalding. The fact that they get to see those artists that close in a 900-seat venue is exceptional, and we get multiple levels of support from multiple locations and sponsors and corporations and donorship to make that possible. So people come in, they buy a ticket for $40 or $35, and next thing you know, you're in within 100 feet of some of the world's most important musicians and artists. It's a great sounding hall, every experience that I've had in there has been a good one as a listener and as a performer myself. It's been exceptional. And of course, Jefferson Center itself is a 110,000 square foot building, which is houses 20 nonprofits and is a beautiful building and a great example of how to take a building that had gone in disrepair. Old high school that had been in disrepair, and the community got together and invested in it and ensured that it was going to continue to have a really positive long-term impact in this community, and that's happened. And it's been a catalyst for the downtown West neighborhood. Arguably the Cotton Mill and Fork in the City and the restaurants that are in that area wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the fact that millions and millions and millions of dollars were invested in Jefferson Center 20 years ago.
Right, it's kind of drawing downtown that way. You can come out now and go to Fork in the City without having to get in your car and drive around. You can go over to, if you live at the Cotton Mill.
And you can walk right over and have dinner and walk to a show. My wife and I live on Day Avenue, right up from Jefferson Center, and lately we've really enjoyed walking from our home down past Jefferson Center into downtown and eating downtown and walking back up Campbell Avenue.
It's a doable walk.
It's totally doable. It's beautiful, and you see things doing that you probably don't recognize about Roanoke, because people go out, I'm going to work, and they drive down Campbell, and they're downtown, and they work, and they get back out.
Right.
But it's a great walk, and Jefferson Center is an important part of that forward momentum in that neighborhood.
That's one thing you mentioned the nonprofits, that Jefferson Center is also the home to many nonprofits, Local Colors, Apple Ridge Farm, and many others, and that's part of your job, is really to keep those office suites filled and keep people, but there are quite a few nonprofits that call Jefferson Center home.
Right, 18 of them. We have a couple of for-profit businesses there now as well, but the majority of our tenants are nonprofit companies or nonprofit organizations, and it's a 110,000 square foot building. Half of that space is leasable space, and we take part of the part of our mission that says that we need to be able to provide this space to our tenants at a below market rate. We take that very seriously, and that's what we're doing, and we feel really good about the fact that their dollars are going to their core mission, and it's not going towards raising capital to ensure that their building stays afloat. That's Jefferson Center's responsibility. It's part of our relationship with the city.
Right. And what is that relationship with the city? Because the city really got the ball rolling to some extent on the renovations.
I think it was the city and Judge Fitzpatrick originally that decided that there needed to be something done about this high school. It was the high school in Roanoke until 1971, and it matters very deeply to the alumni and other people in this community that think of that as sort of the place where they started their lives. And we take that very seriously. So the city and Judge Fitzpatrick and some other local benefactors got together and raised the money necessary to get it moving forward. And that was always part of the mission, that we would always provide space for nonprofits and ensure that they're able to focus on the things that they do.
And speaking of raising money, I know, and it's an old building, there's been some issues with the roof recently. And, talk about your campaign, Can Cyrus Do It?
Sure.
There's a poster of you out there, and you're trying to get X amount of money from X amount of people for a period of time. Talk about that campaign.
Sure. The idea is that I'll find 1,000 people who will donate $100 a year for 3 years. So the total commitment is $300. You can stream it over 3 years. I was really good on the math on the money that would raise. If I could do it, it'd be $300,000 over 3 years. I wasn't very good on the number of conversations and the number of cards that I'd have to give out and the number of asks that would have to happen to get 1,000 people. And I have a year to do it. So it turns out to be somewhat more time consuming than I had really thought of. And there are some benefits to it that I hadn't thought of as well, which is
making a lot of contacts.
Making a lot of contacts. I have a lot of conversations about Jefferson Center and why Jefferson Center matters. Having a lot of conversations about educational outreach and why it's important to see a performance in Jefferson Center, why it's important that Local Colors and Pro Food has an office there. So it's about raising the money for Jefferson Center for operations, but it's also about having conversations about Jefferson Center.
And drawing the community in. It's one way to draw more people into the facility.
I think so too. Part of the thought on this is that there's a community of individuals who have not historically been philanthropic or haven't been donors, and this is a way to engage them in the idea that giving money to things that matter to them in the community can be part of their life. And $100 a year from 1,000 people goes a very long way. So at the end of the year, I'd like to be celebrating 1,000 people. If not, I guess I'll get on the roof and not come down until I reach the 1,000.
That's one way to do it.
That's one way.
We're going to take a quick break. Our guest is Cyrus Pace, Executive Director of Jefferson Center. This is The Interview. We'll be right back.